What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
What else can I say? Binwell, Ukutemwa Ukulanda Landa. I've said what I need to say. It's up to you. Greetings to you, fellow citizens. You forgive me. Today, no? I think that umutima now karipasana, so I don't know whether to shout. I don't know whether to speak slowly or to try and be calm. Maybe, try and being calm is the best that would help me address this particular matter. So, it has come to my attention, fellow citizens, that, the Zambian government and the Tanzanian government have both agreed to give out the Tazara Rail, company to a concessionaire. Yeah? So apparently, two Chinese companies have been given, to run and manage Tazara. What this deal entails in brief is that these two Chinese companies will start managing the freight section of Tazara, which is obviously the transport part of Tazara, for the next 30 years. I'm fine? 30 years, under what they're calling the PPP model. This entails that these companies will pump in about $1.4 billion, I'm told, into the improvement of the rail infrastructure. They may construct a few infrastructure here and there, but they will have to run this facility or this company for the next 30 years. Now, part of the arrangement is that so the freight section is what is going to go to the Chinese, while the passenger section of Tazara will still remain with Tazara. Now, there are about 3,700 workers at Tazara, both Zambia and Tanzania combined. This arrangement will only see 200 workers move from Tazara to the Chinese. So 100 workers from Tanzania, 100 workers from the Zambian side will move to the these Chinese. What essentially means is that those 200 workers will be declared redundant, and this actually is starting by first week of March, right? So these 100 workers, or rather 200 workers, will now be declared redundant. They'll be paid their packages, and then they'll also transit or transition to become part of the Chinese. The rest of the 3,700, which is 3,500 workers, will remain with Tazara to continue working for Tazara under the passenger train, department. Now, you do all realize that the passenger train alone cannot employ 3,500. It therefore means that a lot of these, our brothers and sisters, will eventually have to lose out. Now, there's no provision in this arrangement that these who be paid off or they will be declared redundant. The normal situation would have been that there should have been consultations, and the union would have been consulted. It should have been a bottom-up approach in terms of consultation. I'm aware of a letter that has been written already by the workers through their union to the permanent secretary to complain over all these misgivings surrounding this concession. Now, here is where I have a problem. We are giving out this very strategic, national installation or company called Tazara away to a foreign entity for the next 30 years. Now, the potential of the rail sector, particularly this route, Zambia-Tanzania, is huge and cannot be underestimated or overemphasized. If we had pumped in the said $1.4 billion, that would have been all us, making hay while the sun shines. Now, when we talk about the $1.4 billion, others would argue we are very indebted, we cannot afford we're talking about two countries, Zambia and Tanzania, putting together $1.4 billion. That means Zambia should have contributed $700 million. Tanzania would have contributed $700 million. I know that when the two presidents, Zambia and Tanzanian president, went to China, that's when this arrangement was botched. In my thinking, I was of the view that they should have gone to speak to President Xi, that China loans out at least this $1.4 billion, 700 here, 700 in Tanzania, at a cheaper or concessional, terms, so that the Zambian government and the Tanzanian government invests in this, infrastructure, as opposed to letting go for the next 30 years. You know that the Chinese will improve that infrastructure, and it will become an option for all the cargo that will be moving into Tanzania from Zambia and back. It means that in 30 years, these Chinese companies would have made abnormal returns on the investment they are making, which returns could have gone to the two, governments. Where I have a problem, fellow citizens, is that it looks like we have now entered into a very educated form of privatization, where all our state infrastructure has to be given out in these same bogus, PPP arrangements. Our roads are gone, our mines are going, everything else seems to be going out just like that in the same celebrated PPP arrangement. I'm even told that even the Jumbe Road is also going for, rather the Chanida Road is also going for the next 20 years. You do know, and I want you to open your ears and eyes to this reality, fellow citizens. Let me give an example of what has happened to the PPP project on the Kasumbalesa section, as well as the Lusaka Ndola Dio carriageway. You know I have always objected the Lusaka Ndola Dio carriageway, because as opposed to the Chinese companies bringing money to invest in the road, those Chinese companies that are doing the Ndola Dio carriageway came with just suits and nothing else. All right? They came to get our money from NAPS and workers' compensation, the $650 million. Later on, before they could even finish, halfway, this your government decides to give them mama targets. You heard the other day when government announced that they've been able to almost double the collection from targets, from 2.7 billion per year to about 4 billion kwacha. That's how much the super, abnormal revenues they've collected from the targets. So what essentially has happened now is that the Chinese companies that are doing, the consortium doing the Ndola Dio carriageway, Ndola Lusaka, na mubapela ma targets. Bambo kubomfyashire mpiesha ma targets. Meanwhile, mwalishita announce, ba UPN bashita announce kuchalo kwebati, these guys are going to get a loan from NAPS and workers' compensation. Between you and me, you know that if they've gotten that $750 million, babikire matumba yabo, what they'll start now using for the road, nishine mpia balambo kupoka pama targets. You know very well that the only time that you can give away your targets to a concessionaire is only when they work, babomba bene, babikamwe mpia shabo, babomba, and then you give them the targets to say, start collecting the money that you put in the road. Okay? Now, that is a grand scheme of corruption that is happening under the UPND. We call it educated corruption. Because there's no justification why you can give them a target before Muntala Bomba even halfway the project. Let's go to Kasumbalesa. The Kasumbalesa project, the road from Chingola to Kasumbalesa was done again under a PPP arrangement, right? And then they put a target after Chilabombo going into Kasumbalesa. Now, when the minister came to parliament, Minister Kwebati, we are giving out this target for the next 19 years to this concessionaire who has done the road. Well and good. If somebody has done the road using their money, you can give them the targets to start operating so that they can recover the money they put in that road. and you give somebody a contractor for 19 years to operate. Now, the projections or the calculations the minister made to Parliament for the justification to give them 19 years was based on the monies, or rather the rates that, vehicles were paying on that toll gate then. As an example, amatrax ya lady pillar 150 kwacho kupita pa toll gate. After the road is done, so remember that when they calculated how long it should take for them to operate this road, for them to get back the investment, the calculations were done on, based on the rates on the toll gate then. As an example, a truck was being charged 150 kwacha. When that road was done and the toll gate was opened, the toll gate in Chirabombwe has been increased. Amatraxi are now paying 1,550. From 150, Pariabachi to the base, the calculation that to allow pay toll gate for 19 years so that they can recover their investment after 19 years. The calculations were based on the charge value to charge 150 kwacha. But after Babomba, they are now, Amatrax are now being charged 1,550 okupita pofi na pakuwela 1,550. So paliaba track ya already pila 300 kwacha go come. The truck is now paying 3,100 kwacha. But interestingly, in this contract with the concessionaire, and I'll give Chirabombwe as an example, there is no exit clause, meaning that na balundempia na mumfine apoba base the 19 years was pari 150 kwacha. But aba guys aba na balunda by over 1,000%, from 150 to 1,550 kwacha. 1,000% increment on the toll gate. It means that a projection year 19 years should actually reduce by half the years. If anything, less than 10 years. Now, for 7 years, maximum is how much or how long it will take for that concessionaire to recover their money. But there is no exit clause, meaning that Nangwimpia Shakwana in 5 years, they will continue to operate that toll gate. Interestingly, a response came from government suggesting that even after they recover the money, the rest of the period leading up to 19 years, government and the concessionaire will be sharing. So hear me right, there is no exit clause in that arrangement or that contract between the concessionaire and government. Meaning that Nangshakumana in two years, that concessionaire will still continue reaping your money off that toll gate. So, look at this, Mwebana Bakwalesa. We are giving out these, public infrastructure to these foreigners in these very suspicious arrangements. And some of you are even celebrating, let them improve our road. When you even have the capacity, through the monies you have at NAPSA, through the monies you have at workers' compensation, you can actually do the investments yourselves. As opposed to letting the concessionaire do the project, you can actually engage a contractor. Abomba muamulipira, NAPSA and workers' compensation continues or starts to collect the money. Because NAPSA and workers' compensation nangwachita collect more. It is still public money. It is our money. It's our pensioners' money. It's our workers' money at workers' compensation. Today, this infrastructure is given. The next infrastructure is given, just like what has happened at Tazara, rather Indeni and Tazama. Pipeline yo bailekako, just like that. Even though Tazama and Indeni is a little bit, the government nabamba kuchinja approach, because we told them that you cannot completely give away this infrastructure for fuel, which is a very important sector of our economy. Bane Tazara naba pela na iya, just like that. Some of you, in the next 30 years, you will not even be available or around. I will not even be around myself in the next 30 years. You know that in the next 30 years, I would have been 74. Our life expectancy is reducing. Nama BP ayatule luwalo mlandu wafuma politics if you have la manu if bamwale chitawa be never let me take over. Kutu wa survivor for the next 30 years. Some of us will not be there. Why are we then questioning this arrangement? It's because abakachuliramo bana besu. Abakachuliramo, it's our grandchildren. Our responsibility, our duty is to ensure that we create a better future for our children and our grandchildren. That is why we must protect and harness our resources, our public installations. Bakaunda tabatumpire pamona banyerere kuyapangisha kuyalomba ku China batupangira Tazara. This is an important installation. Bakaunda tabatumpire okutupangira Indeni na Tazama. These were strategic institutions that gives us legitimacy as a country. Ilelo, we are just gifting our friends away. It is a very educated privatization. You know that privatization that happened, in yesteryears was more of, uneducated. This one is a very educated privatization. They've come in the name of PPP and they are giving out your public infrastructure just like that. For many years, you will not be in control of your own country. Because by the time Mwala Buka Mwemwe na Zambia, you will find that everything else will be gone. Now my airports, Yonsaya, very soon, I can guarantee you, even your airports would have been gone. Very soon, I can guarantee you, even Zesco will be gone. Because what they've started, as an example for Zesco, yale tuwala malaiti kuma mines ya ku Northwestern Province. Alright? Abe neba Zesco eba panga malaiti, eba kwatane ntambo, isha kutuwala malaiti ku Northwestern. And they've actually been selling, Zesco has been selling power to the Northwestern Province mines. Abene. Today by UPND naba bikapo company pakatapa a middle company, a middleman called Kanona Energy. You know Kanona Energy is a company yaba nabo baba UPND. Okay, abena Valentine, nabena Muna Ntuba. Ebe neba Kanona Energy. Okay, I stand to be corrected. But ebe neba Kanona Energy. Ebo babikilepo pakatapa to now start getting bafumia malaiti ku Zesco bala tuwala ku Northwestern Province. Baba pakatapa. Nishi babera pakati mwebana bako. What have they brought into the equation? So what I'm trying to tell you is that apamule lumbabamo, you will not realize that by the time mukala abuka, including nepo mwikele landionse, nishibalisha. Don't forget that not long ago, luapura bali no goreka, kuli udio mu Vietnamese uwa ishide mkufuata kale biara rice. Zambia kwenda atakale byala rice bapokero apula yonse 6 million hectares of land. That is the size of Luapula yo alefwaya mulando wale munasujira itationkesa mukubyala rice. So my worry is, why have we become a so scared people that we can't question this? Okay, because sometimes people are thinking about Binwell Ukulanda Landa. They are trying to, some people are saying, no, bale panga mileage. What mileage can I possibly get from just opening up your eyes and ears to see the road that is going on under these angels, the so-called by UPND? Bane mwebena Zambia, inena milomba, open your ears. Open your eyes. Wake up from your slumber. Lekenyu mwenso bucha mwenso tuwana sange chalwe chi na bashitisha. Mwikatila, I did not warn you. Me, I am telling you. Okay? Let us wake up and begin to demand transparency. There's no way you can give out Tazara. Because in any normal situation, in any normal country, minister would have come to parliament to give out all the details surrounding this concession. In any case, there should have been approval from Parliament to be able to give out such an important public installation to a foreigner for the next 30 years. They should at least have been the courtesy to inform the Zambian people through Parliament. They are very quiet. It's happening under the carpet. All these, conversations are happening and nobody would know until whistleblowers hint to us. Zambia, we chaloches, mwebena Zambia, can you wake up? Wake up, bane. Tualala. We know mwenso mkwete, katushino mwenso ko tufumisho ufwena. Because we've never been cowards. We chased away, colonial masters. How is it that we can now be scared of to UPND utu? Today, Tina no kulanda because they are going to say seditious or hate speech. Today, Tina fiaka fungo. aba fyash besu, they were not scared of being killed when they were fighting for independence. Us, we are too scared of even just going into ourselves. We're too scared. All these things happening. Balekana na statistics. Central statistics yafumye statistics. Oh, population irifi. Babeyanyabo bakana. No, 30 lunda kwa figures ku southern province. How? Since when in the country did we have central statistics figures being disputed by government? Namuna. Just look at even the figures here, registered voters. Kulusakoko reduced by 23,000, voters. Badi fuwa 23,000 mulusakoko kwamba 2021. Kumuchingoko, the voter registration has reduced by 46,000 voters. Badi fuwa bantu 46,000 kumuchinga. Nangu muchinga, people have moved from Chinga 46,000 from 2021. Meanwhile, the South has recorded 86,000 voters more on the register. Babeani has the guts to even dispute statistical records, population records by professionals. Natuikala tuleta mba tulino mwenso. Congratulations, Mwena Zambi. Continue no mwenso. Congratulations. Pat yourselves on your backs. You are cowards. We've become cowards. Let's continue. Mukamonefe chalo chikabechi. You will see what inheritance we are going to leave for our children, or what this country is going to become in the next few years. What else can I say? Ukutemwa Ukulanda Landa. I've said what I need to say. It's up to you.
Thanks for tuning in to JQ News. Don't forget to like.